That was regular old money. It was in like a Charles Schwab account.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was.
Ooh, but I get, let's say, like our guy with the Apple stock, he's actually giving the Apple stock physically to the charity. So he doesn't have to sell it and
Right.
realize a gain. So whatever and the guy that donated the property, they took whatever the appraised value was today, and he got 100% credit for that value.
So he never sold it, so he never really paid the tax on the.
Exactly.
value.
He just gave it away
Yeah.
and created an income stream back that paid more than it was even worth.
So is it tax preferred because they consider part of it as return from the capital?
I think that's part of it, yeah, so that you're actually getting some of your cost basis back as well as whatever growth was there. But it doesn't change the exclusion ratio, I don't think. This isn't my personal area of expertise, but yes, that's part of it. And then it has something to do with your age and the state that you're in. Yes, sorry.
Does it work with any charity or taken to, certain one?
Does it work with any charity? Yes. So far, the initial donation has to be made to the 501(c), but then the small, like in this case 70,000, that can go to anybody. And if the entity that you have isn't already set up to help to receive charitable contributions, they can help. The Legacy Tree Foundation can help it become one. Because the dentist situation here, the dentist college couldn't receive the donation for some reason, and they got it fixed. But yeah, as far as we know, anybody can be the recipient, or any entity. Okay, I better move along. Just remember, there's a lot of ways around taxes. And every time they change one of the tax laws, there's usually already some way to get around that too. Not every planner knows how to do it. The point is, we can always do something to improve taxes, whether it's on growth, income, what you leave behind. Just make a little mark at number 3 and we can talk specifically about taxes. Then there's IRAs. This is fast. 85% of Americans don't do anything with their IRAs except put it into some sort of balanced mutual fund account, take out the regular distributions and pass on most of it or the rest of it to their kids. The number one reason they don't do anything better with it, they don't want a tax hit or taxable event. Everything you've seen us do so far here, you can do with the IRA money, and it would not cause a taxable event to do it, including life settlement, investing, all of that. Here's the other thing we have to plan on. Taking our required distributions. Now we get to wait till we're 72 to take those distributions, but the whole point is we have to, because the government wants us to take that money out, so A, we can pay them some taxes, and B, we can subsidize our retirement years and not end up on the dole or in the poorhouse on the country's dime. Let's see if it'll work. If I live to be 105, will it last as long as I do? For every 100,000 in my IRA, I need to make 6% per year if I'm going to take 7,000 per year out and spend it. That's my go to Hawaii every Easter with the family money or whatever. But if I can earn 6 and spend 7, that'll last my lifetime, no problem. It runs out when I'm 145. I'm covered. But what if we have another crash like we did in 2000 or 2008? And for years, I don't make anything. I got zeros or even negatives. If that's the case, I run out, well, the money runs out before I do, and I don't outlive it. One way to fix this is the magic lamp. Problem with magic lamps is the genies are tricky. If you say, hey, I want to make sure I don't outlive my money, the genie can say, your wish is granted, you've got 1 week to live. So we found a better way, and used to be, now remember this was the thing that was only available on variable annuities. It used to be our only option besides magic lamps until they changed the rule. They said you can put that on anything. Let me skip some of this and show you the good stuff. So here's one that was designed around the Treasury rules specifically because of this lifetime income benefit that you can now put on all kinds of investments. It's called a QLAP. The whole point of it is the guaranteed lifetime income, but that's the only way you ever get your money back. This isn't a suggestion, this is a cautionary tale. Don't fall for the hype on these. These get sold a lot because they pay a really big fee to the planner. That's it. there's no benefit to you. But watch how enticing this is. You can defer a quarter of your required distributions up to age 85. 13 more years without paying taxes on that. That's nice. On the surface, that sounds really good. Let's play it out. I put 125,000 into this when I'm 65. I said, yeah, let's wait the full maximum up to 85, then turn on that income stream for me. That'll be fun. Only 10 years in, my wife has a stroke or a heart attack, and I need the cash back. Can never happen. This goes back to those old draconian rules where, nope, sorry, Greg, you're dead to us. You can never have this cash again. You can't even make the income turn on earlier. You have to wait. All right, I know that. I get to 85, I turn on the income. I've got to make it at least to 95 to have even made 3% per year on the money. Sound good? Oh, and if I die, my kids will get back the initial 125 minus whatever payments they gave me. Not a penny of interest for all of those 20 or 30 years. Sound good? It's good for the insurance company. They make a ton on this. This is great for them. I only bring it up because we've met too many people who had already gotten bit by this and then met us, and there was nothing we could do to undo it. So be careful. This is not as good of an investment as it initially sounds. But there are ways. Everything we've shown you so far, and some things we haven't even, which I think is coming up, long-term care planning, you can do with an IRA, and it won't cause a tax hit. Most people don't know how to do it, or they go to an advisor that doesn't know how to do it. So just make a mark at number 4 if you'd like to talk about where is your IRA today, what would you like it to do differently, and we can help move it. Almost every time. Just make a little mark there. I gotta put on my track shoes and get that. Long-term care covers you for those unexpected medical things that go on for way longer than we thought we would ever have. In my family, nobody in the Skogsberg lineage has ever had dementia. There's not one case as far back to our Swedish ancestors that we can find. My dad got diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 62 and was in a home by 63. It was that fast. Because he was healthy and young, relatively, he lasted 10 years, pretty much as a vegetable, but in need of entire, full, all-day long care. And he had no long-term care plans in place. He had a pension because he was a college teacher. So he had a $5,000 per month pension, and that was not even 2/3 of the monthly costs. Here's what we got to, here is the laundry list of the ways we can pay for our care. If you've got $5 million in the bank set aside just for long-term care, you're probably okay. You can skip this portion. My dad and a lot of people mistakenly believe that the government plans will help, but they probably won't. Unless, well, like I said earlier, if you live within driving distance of this restaurant, you either have too many assets or too much income or both. And my dad wasn't a rich guy, but he didn't qualify for Medi-Cal. So in the absence of those things, you've got to go to other people's money through insurance if you think to have it in place before you actually need it. You know, like they say, if the house is on fire, it's too late to get a homeowner's policy. Kind of the same way. Let's talk costs real quick. Semi-private room, before meals and therapy, this is what the national average is for 1 month. What do you suppose California is? Higher or lower?
Higher.
Right? We're actually lower. We have more facilities, less competitiveness, better weather. It's not hard to get a doctor to move to California to work. So the most expensive, where do you suppose it is? Most expensive state? It's a lot colder. Give you a hint. Alaska. There are very few facilities. There's an 18-month waiting list. So you have to know you're going to have a stroke a year and a half in advance. So they pay about 3 times what we pay to get in. And then down in the south, down where they have strong cocktails and good jazz music, and it's about a fifth, what's that? Yeah, of what they pay up in Alaska. The only reason I bring this up is because where you're going to get your care is one factor most planners don't even talk to you about. And think about this, because if you have a closed-headed injury, a slight stroke, you have blindness, whatever, you lose a foot to whatever reason, you may end up moving back to extended family, people where you grew up. So you have more cousins and uncles and friends to take care of you or help or give you social atmosphere. If you're from Juneau, you're going to pay a lot more than if you're from Baton Rouge. There are a lot of different factors we have to put into place to put an insurance plan together. I'm gonna skip traditional long-term care insurance. Everyone kind of knows that's just like auto insurance. Write a check, hope nothing ever happens, but you get no cash value for your checks, right? Just like your car insurance. That money's just gone forever. We like this better. This is a one-time loan that I give to the insurance company. And I say, here, hang on to this money for me. If I want it back, I'm gonna come back and you're gonna give it to me. But you're gonna give me long-term care if I ever need it, and I'm never gonna write you another check ever. And they say, okay. So here's how this works. Oh, and I don't have to take a physical. They don't have to come to my house and stick me and draw blood. I can even transfer existing life insurance policies that have cash value. I can transfer those through a 1035 exchange. Watch how this works. She's 65. She says, I want at least 5 years of coverage, at least $3,000 a month. We say, okay, she's in good health. She doesn't smoke anymore. She has about $200,000 down at Wells Fargo. It took a $75,000 transfer to get her the coverage she wanted. She gets $4,300 a month maximum spend. So no matter how sick she is, that's the most they'll get. If she spends it that fast, it'll last 6 years. She's spending down that pool. Does that make sense? If she only needs half that amount every month, it would last 12 years, twice as long. Okay. What if she doesn't need it? Now remember, never writes another check to the insurance company. She just loaned them 75 grand. If she never needs it, she passes away, her kids don't just get the 75,000, they get 106,000 tax-free death benefit because it's tied to a life insurance plan. And she chose the 75% money back rather than the 100% money back just because it gives you a little bit stronger benefits. So if she ever wanted to move to France where they have national health care or whatever reason, she can always get 3/4 of the money back. Concept makes sense? Have you heard of these? These have been around for 28 years. Want to know why you haven't heard of them?
Nobody makes money.
Oh, it's low. That's a good, he said nobody makes money. The commissions on these are not real good, but they're so complex to explain and to get put in place, most planners won't touch them. Questions? Oh, this also covers in-home care. It's triggered by 2 out of 6 activities of daily living. I've got to be able to get myself out of bed, take myself to the bathroom, bathe myself, dress myself, feed myself, and control when I go to the bathroom. As soon as I can't do any 2 of these for any reason, any medical doctor that's not a blood relative can attest on a piece of paper to the insurance company. It's like, yeah, Greg can no longer do this due to blindness from a head injury or whatever. And they'll just say, how much of this money do you need and where do we send it? Like, well, I'm having a nurse come in and care for me in my living room 8 hours a day, send it to my house. Make it out to Nora Jones, my nurse. The point is, like my grandma, the last week of her life, she just spent in her living room in a hospital bed with nurses around the clock. She never went to a hospital. That's what I want to do, stay home and watch Jeopardy. Okay, want to hear the downside? Here's the bad news. You can't use IRA money for this. I don't know why. Because the IRS says your IRA already grows tax-free. You can't get a tax-free death benefit on money that grows tax-free if it's not in a life insurance policy. And your IRA cannot. I say it's double dipping. So here's how we get around that. Annuity plans, not meant to do index stuff like we saw before, can be used to do this exact same type of model, except it's more like with an annuity. I have $100,000 in my IRA. The day I need long-term care, it becomes $300,000. And then I have to spend it down over, it's like a 3 to 5 year plan. But you can do it. That's my point. All right. Make a little check mark at number 5 if you don't have any kind of long-term care plan in place. Let us at least help you shop. This woman, this is a real world example. She had an old plan from about her early 30s that would pay about $2,500 a month. And this is the mistake a lot of us make. None of us knew medical costs would be this high. So when we started funding life or long-term care policies back in our 30s and 40s when we could qualify, we shot for here, and now we would need this much. But now I'm on too many medications, I've had too many procedures, I have too many diseases or whatever, I don't qualify. So we need to put this in place as soon as we possibly can. Let us at least run numbers for you. And last but not least, before lunch, he can start bringing food in if he's ready. Okay,
Quick question on the other one.
sure, go ahead.
Was that in a private room?
The cost,
Yeah.
semi-private.
Semi.
Semi-private, which plays out. My dad was near Fresno, because I grew up in the central state area, and his care was about $5,300 a month. And now I've got one of his friends is in care in the same facility. It's about $57 a month, semi-private before. But remember, we've got Bel Air and Hollywood, and so there are some places down here that cost a lot more than that. But if you want to go like way up to the border of Oregon, you can find some nice places that are really cheap, as long as you don't mind the rain. Okay, I'm moving along. Here we go. Last step, asset ownership. Probate protection. If you don't know what probate is, it's the process that happens to all of your stuff once you die, regardless of what plan you put in place. So there's already a plan for you. There's already a will for you, even if you haven't done one. The minute you die, the government looks to see, did he have a will? Did he have a trust? No? Okay, we'll go with our plan. And then they put all of your property through the probate process. It's expensive, it's long, it's public, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, you can't do anything about it because you're gone. But you can do something about it before you pass away, and that's put a living trust in place. We're not lawyers, we don't do living trusts. But we'd be really bad retirement planners if we didn't explain how important this level of protection is. There are way too, I bet everybody in this room has a story about a relative or a friend that has gone through some horrendous kind of probate situation because there was no protection. And if you don't have one, Prince, Elvis, Michael Jackson, all hundreds of millions that have been lost because they had no probate protection whatsoever. So here's the number one problem with putting a living trust in place. It's boring. Most people, when you ask, the number one reason when surveys were done, why didn't you have a living trust put in place? Just never got around to it. Number one reason for widows after a spouse has died and they still don't have a living trust? Just haven't gotten around to it. Number two reason is, I don't want to sit in a lawyer's office and spend $5,000. Those two were kind of neck and neck. So, and we totally understand that. We partner with a company called Integrity Estate Planning. They've been in Southern California here for 20 years. They've done 15,000 trusts, but they do it differently. They don't have law offices. They have a corporate office in Phoenix, Arizona, and they do these living trusts nationwide. They're licensed to do trusts in every state. So you have an actual lawyer that puts the trust together. It's not just some kid at USC with LegalZoom that's making money at night. This is a real lawyer that puts trusts together and has been doing that for 25 years. But we can do it for, no, we gotta update this since the first of the year because the California courts raised the rates on retitling property. And this price includes retitling one property. So I think now it's $1,050. It's around $1,000. But my point is you don't have to go sit in a lawyer's office for 3 different meetings, about an hour or 2 hours each time, and spend $5,000 to get a trust. They're bulletproof. I had them redo mine. I'll show you mine. You can see it. It's better than the last one I had done 5 years earlier for $2,700. And they'll even come to your house or a Starbucks nearby and do it with you on your turf. So you don't have to try and bring all your address books along with you and all of your life insurance policies and your long-term care and your burial plot and all your veterans benefits. And you can have all that stuff at home. So Dina is the girl that we work with from Integrity. Come out and sit with you for 2 hours or less and basically walk you through every question. Do you want to be an organ donor? Do you want to donate some organs but not all? Who do you want to be in charge if you can't talk for yourself but you're still mentally aware? There's just a whole bunch of stuff that you might not even think about. But then when you pass away, all your property goes directly to the people that you said you wanted to go to, and nobody can do anything about it. And you can do things like say, I don't want my grandson Julie to have the lump sum of $120,000. I want her to get $500 a month until she's 35, or until she gets married, or until she graduates from college, or whatever. You can put some hooks on the money by putting it into the living trust. But we'll retitle one property, meaning that the biggest asset you have will be funded into the trust, which is basically retitles it, but they'll pull the deed, they'll rename it, and they'll put it back. And we'll take care of all the notarizations and stamps for you, all for the price of about $1,000. Okay,
Does renaming it change your property taxes then?
it does not. Does renaming it change your property tax? Does not. Because it'll refer, like, okay, so I had mine changed, my house, my rentals are in the Greg and Amy Schouwersburg Family Trust, own the properties. And then they go to the tax bracket of those owners. So then they look at us and say, well, and that's how it stays the same. I own the trust owns the property. Okay, one more. In 2016, they gave us here in California the ability to use these revocable trust deeds for property. But very few people are aware of it, so we just want to let you know. You can take this, I believe it's a 2-page form now, and download it off the internet and just write in the legal description of the piece of real estate, whether it's got a house on it or a business, anything with land. Where's the property, and then the legal name of the person you want it to go to. File that at the courthouse. I think it's $160 now, and that will give probate protection over that piece of property without a living trust. It will not go through probate. Are you aware of this? Yeah. I don't think the trust attorneys want you to know this exists. You just make sure you put the word California in there if you do a Google search, or just call us and I'll email you, or put it on your form if you want one, and I'll send you a copy of the form. It's a transfer upon death deed.
Is that sort of like a quick claim deed?
It's not. There was one similarity. I can't remember what it was. If it falls under the same section of code or something. But no, in a way, it kind of would be. Because like I'm dead, I quit. Here, you can have it. So kinda, yeah. But no, quitclaim deeds are usually like with an uncontested divorce. Like now, here you and the kids keep the house. I'll just quitclaim my rights to the property. That's more like what a quitclaim does.
What about homesteading? Is that a good idea?
Homesteading? You got me on that one. I don't know. Can you still do that in California? No.
I haven't done it, but you can do it.
should.
I was once advised to do it
You
because
should.
I
Okay.
potentially was gonna be sued.
Protects you.
Yeah,
Nobody can go out.
don't know anything about that one, though. Not, and doesn't that take a certain amount of years to establish?
Instantaneous.
Right away.
Even if you've lived on the property for a certain number of years, you have the right?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I don't know anything about that.
but I haven't done it.
No, I haven't either. Okay, guys, I'm gonna shut up and let you eat. The last section's here, long-term care, make sure you put a little mark there if you want us to run some numbers and just show you how much it would cost to do what. It's way cheaper than you think. And I'm not supposed to say this, but you can also make loans to yourself against the money that you loan to the company, because it's almost like a life insurance policy. So it's not like you're actually totally giving away money. And then the last one is living trust. If you want a living trust, just let us know. We'll put you in touch with the lawyers, let them put that together for you. And just make sure we have a name, maybe an email address or phone number, something at the bottom. Now I'll be quiet. We'll come around. We can answer any questions we didn't get to. Thank you for listening. Don't forget there's dessert. How are we on temperature now? You guys okay?
Fine.
Yeah, okay. You guys can see this.
Yeah, 'cause that was right here, I'm like, I saw it, the shaft, like, well, that looks close here. It's just, yeah, my backyard looks like a saddle. Everything is ripped out.
Cool.
I'll be calling them. I would be shocked if my roof last night, I can hear something, so probably drip so much, I would be shocked. Needs to be done.
It's terrible.
Yes, it is fresh. Hey, Mindy?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had a hard time working on that.
You see they didn't go to the. Okay, so they went to. Oh, right. You didn't go.
All right,
Thank you.
yep.